I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't think I was going to like this. This, of course, is the 406V, which I thought was just going to be a 405V with the same chipset as the 556 or the Anbernic Cube. I didn't think I would want this. It's just going to be a quick reshell, right? I was hyped for the 556, and I loved it for the screen, the price to performance ratio, and the ergo. I wasn't super hyped on the Cube when it came out, though, but it was weirdly great for GameCube games, in addition to a bunch of 4x3 and arcade stuff. When I saw the renders and the news releases for the 406V, I thought it was going to be a big miss. It might be good for someone that didn't have the 556 or the Cube, or a massive vertical handheld fan who wanted an upgrade from the 351V or the 405V, but I wasn't looking forward to it, right? And it came in last week, and I messed around with it, and damn it, Anbernic, I really like it. It's not just a reshell. They actually fixed a lot of the problems I had with the 405V while improving a bunch of other stuff. Amber and Nick continue to up their game. Good job, guys. So why do I like this so much? Well, there are two major changes that I'm really excited about, and some more minor upgrades that just make it feel right. You know what I mean? First of all, they fixed the sticks. See these little rainbow guys here? They fixed them. I had given the old sticks kind of a pass on the Cube because it wasn't geared towards modern stuff, but the analog stick for the last, 2 years almost, have been pretty consistently regarded as trash. Some early analysis has shown that they might actually be the same sticks that Retroid is using, but they are higher quality sticks. You get better range of motion, and you get more precise input, which means no cardinal snapping. Ooh. The trade-off is that they are a little bit taller than the old style sticks. Are you getting that? So jamming this into your pocket without a case might result in some snags. I don't casually pocket these bigger handhelds, so it's not a huge issue for me, but just FYI. Anyway, back to the performance of these sticks. Do you see how these green dots are just all over the screen? It's not just north, south, east, west, and the corners. There's no snapping. That means anything requiring precision sticks will be so much better. I might actually do a quick follow-up video, see if I can take these out and put them into the 556. That might be interesting. They'll look weird on an all-black handheld, and I'll probably break one, if not both, of the units. But that might be fun, right? Oh, Lord. Maybe I don't want to do it. Second, the screen. Now, this screen is new. It's a 4-inch 720p 4x3 screen. Now, that's not that impressive for modern games, but it will allow a lot of cool shaders on 4x3 systems, in addition to allowing some upscaling options for the higher-end systems this thing can emulate. It also means you can scale all of the Game Boys, to either 4x pixel perfect for GBA or 5x for Game Boy and Game Boy Color. Pretty slick. PSP on here also has 2x pixel perfect scaling. Get dunked on. The screen is also really good for Game Boy Advance 2.0 games on the DS. So our two major upgrades, the screen and the sticks. There are some minor upgrades that I also really appreciate. The first one are the triggers. Now, I had a big problem with the triggers on the 405V. Let's get them next to each other here. If you look here on the 405V, you see these triggers flare out all the way to the edge. On the 406V, there's this little piece of plastic. The triggers on the 405V are also just a little bit larger than the ones on the 406V. And what this led to on the 405V, and actually the 40XX-V, which uses the same triggers, since these are so close to the side, you will accidentally touch this part. See where it says R1 or R2? You're touching this part a lot. You're holding onto the side, or you're kind of gripping, and you're just pressing this top part on accident. Pain in the butt. You get used to it, but it's a pain in the butt. On the 406V, there's that piece of plastic. The shell itself is stopping you. You're not accidentally pressing these as you brush against them. So on this one, hit it every time. On this one, maybe every once in a while. Just that resizing of the buttons and this little bit of shell, very significant as far as false inputs and as far as overall ergonomics. Secondly, not necessarily an upgrade, but a good keep. They kept this 55 milliamp hour battery. This is the same battery that was on the original 405V. It's actually the same battery that was on the 556. And for this chipset, it's really good to have a nice chunky battery, and I'm glad that they kept it. This 5500 milliamp hour battery will probably give you a full work day's worth of lower end stuff. And if you're playing higher end stuff, you'll probably get from around 8 o'clock to lunch before you got to plug it in. Very, very good choice to retain this. Finishing up, we also have just the general ergonomics. The 405V was thick as hell, but it was also really comfortable. The only issue, these triggers with the false inputs. You had to hold it a little bit awkwardly. Your fingers are more down here, because if you had them up here, you'd press it on accident. So you had them curled a little bit lower. On the 406V, you can rest them up here, and you're not going to be hitting those buttons on accident. So if you are someone that really liked to just bear down and keep your fingers on the side here, you're not going to press the buttons on accident. Now, since they redesigned the triggers and that problem is gone, you can hold it however feels natural to you. Just the overall size of this and the ergonomics and the butt cheeks, which the 405V had. Everything else compared to the 405V is almost identical, if not identical, outside of those triggers. And the 405V was already really ergonomic. Just that one little subtle change to the trigger takes it to a whole new level. I like holding this. I like playing this. It's comfortable to bear down on. It's comfortable to kind of have a more relaxed grip depending on what game you're playing. It's just a really, really good design if you do enjoy the vertical handhelds. If you are horizontal or bust, might not be the best for you. Now, the 406V started at an early bird price of $155 for the first 3 days. And I didn't get mine until it already went on sale. So unless I was going to just not sleep, I wasn't going to be able to get this video out before the price jumped all the way to $165. So just $10. It's not the end of the world. You probably need to factor in shipping depending on where you live. But let's just say 170, 175, maybe 180 as this becomes available through AliExpress or through Go Game Geek or Litnix or any of those third-party resellers. You might be able to get a lower price with the addition of free shipping, so it might bounce it all the way back, maybe to the early bird price. And Anbernic always does run sales on these. So if you're lucky, maybe you get it for $155, maybe $150. But even at that $165 plus shipping, it's not a bad price. It's not a bad price, especially considering it's a very, very ergonomic vertical handheld with a really good power to performance ratio. I guess it's time for what did we learn? We learned that I shouldn't sleep on Anbernic, at least in 2024. I think I was only really jazzed for the 35XX SP, but outside of the 28XX, too small, and the extremely baffling re-release of the original 35XX for 2024, which, why would you do that? I still just confused by that one. But outside of those two, I think Anbernic has exceeded my expectations with their entire lineup, and this handheld is definitely included. The 406V was something I didn't know I wanted or needed, but it just felt right from the get-go. I really, really liked it. I didn't go super deep on this one because we've done, I think, maybe 10 videos on this T820 chipset, and we know what it can do as far as emulation, as far as Android games, and as far as streaming. But I did focus a lot on what sets this guy apart. You've got fully functional sticks, finally. Good job, Anbernic. Don't stop using these. Don't go back to the old ones. These sticks are really, really good. There's no snapping. There's no precision issues. None of it. I can excuse the snapping on lower end systems to keep the prices down. And honestly, because a lot of what those systems can play, you're not going to really need super precision. Let's be honest. The analog sticks on the N64 and the PlayStation 1 weren't exactly tack driver tier sticks, right? But on a T820 chipset, it was kind of a glaring issue. They also bumped up the screen to a 4-inch 720 panel. Ooh, it's not OLED. It's not anything super fancy, but it's a really, really good screen. The colors are vibrant. The brightness levels, you can go all the way down in a pitch black bedroom to all the way up for a fairly sunny day. And you're not going to have too many problems. And it's really good for anywhere between 2X PSP all the way to 5X Game Boy Color integer scaling on older systems. Throw in the improved trigger design, the sturdy battery, and an all-around improved ergonomic experience, and you've got yourself a solid as hell vertical handheld. Unless you're really sensitive to the cardinal snapping on the sticks, I wouldn't say throw out your 556 or your Cube and get one of these instead, but if you don't already have something this powerful, or if you're looking to upgrade from an older vertical handheld, the 406V is really just a great melding of size, comfort, power, and price. For 170-ish, you can get something that can play everything all the way up to most GameCube and PSP. There's going to be limitations on the harder to emulate stuff, but It's got a great screen and great controls, and it's hard to beat right now, especially if you already love the vertical form factor. If you love my vertical form factor, what? Remember to like and subscribe and all that jazz. We're continuing to ramp up for fall and then Christmas, where there'll be a flurry of new devices and custom firmwares and guides and all that stuff. So click that bell somewhere on your screen and you'll get a little buzz on your phone when we drop a new video, and you can say, oh, I wonder if it's that Zoo fella or maybe one of the other guys on there that's more polished and doesn't make a ton of errors. But that's neither here nor there. Anywho, I guess I'll see you later. Goodbye.